Um, Mainly in high school, a little bit in college, but more so in high school. I think since I've gotten to college, I've gotten a little bit more comfortable with myself and my naturalness. But when I was in high school more, I was kind of the quirky one of the group, and all my friends had perms, and I never really wanted a perm because I liked my curly hair. Every once in a while I'll straighten it if I just don't want to deal with it for a week, but it was always, people always were like, oh, on the one hand, the black girls, so-called black girls, non-mixed girls, fully black girls, whatever you want to say, would always say, oh, you have such good hair, you have such good hair. And then the friends of mine that were, and they had perms, but the friends of mine that were mixed that also had perms, always pressured me to get a perm because my hair was kind of a little bit unruly at times. And it was seen as though that was the black thing to do. And I think that kind of what a little bit of what pressured me is that people are always telling me that I have good hair. And I was like, I'm black. And I felt like that was taking away from my blackness. Not necessarily that I didn't like my hair, I love my hair. But it was, it annoyed me that people were always saying, oh, you have good hair. And I felt like there's not really such a thing as good hair. So I caved into the pressure from my biracial black friends to get a perm. And it was the worst experience of my life. And there's still some hair that does not curl in the back of my head. It's really not cool. So, I don't know. And I always, was striving to be a little bit darker. I always, wanted to, this year, I did do this year. I bought some tanning lotion in the Hawaiian Tropic bottle. I guess I always, I'm very comfortable with myself and my racial identity, but I say there are some things I am insecure about, I would say, and I always feel as though somebody's always trying to say, you're not black enough, or you're not. I never really felt like that from my Hispanic side, because I never really hung out with a lot of Hispanic people. There just weren't a lot in my community that I grew up in. And but I always felt like people were saying, you're not black enough. And so that really ended up affecting me so much that I permed the hair that I loved so much, just so that I could fit in with the what it meant to be black. So it was an experience.
I don't really think I had put an effort towards identifying one race over another. I think I try to dress probably more a certain way to identify with African American. But with my hair, it grows into an afro, and I cut it, so it's probably the same way. But I think I identify more with African American culture because that's how I was raised, and that's all I know is African American culture. So I identify with that more. I listen to all styles of music though too, and genres of music. So
I wouldn't call them efforts to identify with one race group or another. I would just say they are who I am and how I grew up. But yeah, I listen to a certain kind of music, and I wear certain kind of hairstyles, and I dress a certain way, but it's just because it's who I am. Yeah, I think people have seen it though and said that it's more one race than another. I listen to R&B, and I like to get my hair put in twists, and I I don't like the preppy clothing, and so I don't know if it's, I think it's just because my cultural identity is African American, just because of the culture I grew up in, and that's my home, that's my family, that's where I'm comfortable, and that's who I am. And I don't think it's just because I'm trying to be black, but it's just that that's the environment I was raised in, and that it coincides with the environment that a lot of African American people are raised in, but I don't think it defines who they are.
I guess at different times in my life, I've tried to identify more or less with some things. When I was having a really rough time, I would try to rationalize by saying, well, I'm not even American, I'm just German since I was born in Germany and my mom's German. Other times in high school it was definitely more like, I usually listen to R&B music, and then if I was with like white people I would sort of downplay that, or play it up if I was with black people. Other than that, also the way I dressed too was changed a lot based on like what I want to identify with. In high school was a lot more wanted to be seen as like the urban hip hop chick or whatever, but I don't know. It's depends.
I think in the past, I probably, maybe even only, would probably change some cultural things in order to fit in. Like my high school was predominantly black. I think like, I don't know, over 70% African American students. And I, like looking back, I realized like I dress a lot differently than I do now. And I think like since like the end of my high school years and like into college, I've really come to just, I don't know, I've come to know myself like and my identity more as being, I don't know, I see it more as a singular identity and not, I don't know, a dichotomy or whatever of different races combined. So I don't know, since I got to college and really started to like analyze and learn about my racial identity and just find myself like that, I don't know, I think that's changed me to just be able to be myself and not have to do that stuff.
I feel I do act somewhat different when I get around white people compared to black people. When you get around white people, if I were to say some of the things I say when I'm around black people, they sometimes think I'm acting ghetto or they don't understand what I'm saying. So I have to put terms in perspective for them so they understand exactly what I'm saying, and I might have to like tone down some of the things I say so they don't sit here and just be like, oh my gosh, what is wrong with her?
I do not think I act differently, which I think is kind of problematic for some, because when I was talking earlier about people, like my friends joking, oh, it's because you're black, say if I'm in an interview with a boss, I tend to be a little bit aggressive in my approach towards everything. And people stereotype that and associate that with black people. And so my sister will be like, it's because you're black and you're loud and blah, 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 and whatever. So like I don't act differently, and I feel like you have to put on that front stage of you should have to, you know, act this way in front of these people and that way in front of those people, and I don't really believe in that, although I know that in this society that's kind of how you have to get things done, but I think that's bogus. And I think as a biracial I think on another point though, as a biracial individual, one has the right to act differently around different individuals and to identify differently in different situations. And I think that nobody should be able to judge them for doing so, because I just think that's one of the rights that comes with being biracial, that you choose when to identify in what way and where to identify in what way and how to act in what situation and what makes you comfortable. And if, you know, you change how you act this way, you know, everybody does it. People act different in church than they do at home. So, I mean, the same concept applies, I think.
I think to some extent, most people act differently around different racial groups. For me, I think it's a level of how well you know the person as well, though, because I know with my friends that I'm really close to, obviously I'm not going to act different regardless of their race. But I guess when you're put in, I don't know, I guess strange situations or just situations with strange people you don't know, I guess, your mind's gonna automatically do what it does so that you can fit in, I guess. So whether it's unconscious or not, I'm sure I do, and I'm sure a lot of other people automatically change the way they act, depending on which race they're surrounded with.
I don't think I act differently around different groups, like maybe like around different people in like certain groups, like if it's like my professor or somebody, out of respect I like talk like more proper around my professor, or like my mom or somebody else's parents from like a different group or ethnicity, I was like talk to me more respectfully than I would like if I was just hanging out with like my friends like from a different race. I probably just like talk with them more like laid back, like with more laid back lingo than I would like just like an elderly type of person just out of respect.
I'd say that I probably do act a little bit different around different groups that I hang out with. As I've gotten older, I think this has died down a little bit, but definitely, and my brother pointed this out to me, he used to make fun of me all the time because he'd say that I get like an accent when I'm hanging out with certain of my friends. And I wouldn't say that that really happens so much anymore, but it's like this automatic like instinct that comes in, automatically wanting to fit in with whatever group that I'm with at the current moment. And I would say as I've gotten older and I've kind of realized that I've done that, and I was like, hey, come on, what's going on? So I say that I probably don't do that so much. I don't know if I do it at all anymore, but I'd say that some things that I do different is maybe not talk differently, but there are certain things that I won't bring up or certain jokes that I won't say, not necessarily that they'd be offensive jokes in certain company, but just jokes that I know people won't understand. And I'm generally probably a lot quieter around white people, not so much. I don't even know how I act around Hispanic people, to be honest. I don't know, probably know like 5. Asian people, cool with Asian people, but I'd say probably I just get a lot quieter, I get a lot more reserved, because I feel as though any joke making or any type of loud behavior is automatically going to be attributed to the fact that I'm now white, and that I'm like somehow, that's one of the things that I always kind of felt, is that like when I was in a black crowd, I was like weird sometimes. Like people thought I was weird if I cracked a joke. If I'm in a white crowd, it's like people are like, oh, this black girl is being loud, or this whatever girl. People a lot of times don't even know that I'm black. So I don't know. That's probably one of the